Hello, everyone. So this is my first official live on YouTube. I did it the other night just before bed, and we ended up having a long conversation. But it's nice because I'm on my laptop, and I think that's really nice that I can do that. I know we have a bunch of people coming on from Instagram now, so I've alerted them through my phone. This is kind of like an impromptu live. Oh, thank you, Eliza. I'll take that. I don't really get the opportunity to connect with my YouTube community and answer some of your questions. Hi, Jack. So again, I'm not sure I'm going to leave this on after it's uploaded. I'm kind of still warming up. But I love going live. I've been doing it on Instagram for a while now. Love you too. Are most of you coming from YouTube or from Instagram? Whoa, that's a lot of people. All right. Whoa. Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here. I wanted to connect with you guys. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. I actually just finished a reading and I thought, how fun would it be, Mr. Smith, right? In The Simpsons, how fun would it be if I could answer some questions for people? Because it's been a wonderful day of downloads and stuff. Um, One thing I do want to mention, all right, this has been a theme this week, and maybe I'll do a video, like an official video at some point. I got this incredible download this week that was like, so a lot of us get inundated with negative thoughts, as you know, a lot of us do. And those negative thoughts, sometimes we're very quick to reject them or to deny access to them, and really just, closing the door on them. And then they have to find another person to go to. And what came to me is, what if we could be honored and feel the privilege that these thoughts are coming to us because they feel safe enough to do so? They saw you, they scoped you out, right? You were on the radar, and they're like, I think I'm going to go into this person's arms and confide in them because I feel safe enough to do that. And to me, that was a brilliant thought. And it goes with everything in life. Because to me, thoughts are like people. There's no difference. Like the thoughts I have are people that are in the world right now, that are in Zurich or in Amsterdam or in London. And all the thoughts that I receive are like a radio station. And I'm tapped into all these different collective thoughts. So when someone can approach you and say, hey, I trust you enough to divulge what's going on with me. And they come to you so that you can provide them with that safe space without judging them, without judging them. And so to me, that was a brilliant download because it right away subtracts judging these negative thoughts out of the equation. And we tend to do that. We subtract, we can subtract judgment. I was going to say we tend to decline or to shun these thought forms, which are like little beings that are coming to you. And they're people that are all in the world. It's like as above, so below, the micro to the macro. And these thoughts are feeling safe enough to confide in you. And I think sometimes we're too quick to turn them away instead of feeling the privilege and the honor that, wow, out of the entire crowd, these thoughts, whether you want to label them demonic or dark or diabolical, these thoughts selected me. They picked me out of the crowd to confide in. And I'm going to cradle them. And I'm going to let them know that you're safe with me and that you get to express yourself and you get to share what's on your heart. And I'm not going to throw you in a box. And I'm not going to criticize you. And I'm not going to reprimand you. I'm going to be right here holding you in my arms, just like the angels held us in their arms before we came here. They carried us here. So I thought that was really, really cool. Think about it. All these negative thoughts that you're always blaming and judging. No, they trusted you. And I think that's amazing. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, I thought it was a dope download. There's a lot of people on live right now. I'm really happy to see you guys. Yeah, and I like to play. Oh my god, a donation. Thank you, Lauren. I will consider this to be my first official donation on a live because this is my first official live on YouTube. So I thank you. Oh, thank you guys. Let's see. Let's get some questions. But yeah, I like to play with my perception in life. I don't like to just look at one thing. The nine gave me a really cool metaphor this morning. I was like, how could you guys get people acquainted with you? And they gave me this really awesome download. I think you guys are going to like this. They were like, when you have a toddler that's teething, are the teeth growing through them? Or is the toddler pushing to grow their teeth? Or is the toddler just trying to get their teeth back? And the answer is all of them, and we look at life in such a one monotracked dimensional way where it's like, oh, the toddler is just growing teeth. Yes, but could it be that the toddler remembers that he had teeth in another lifetime and he's just trying to get them back so he can be a human and jump back in this game? Or could it be that he's letting go and allowing for that growing to happen through him? And what they said was that it's all of it, because in life, it's not just about letting go and letting things grow through us or receiving the downloads. It's not just about, sitting back on your recliner chair waiting for downloads. It's also about being proactive. It's about exercising. It's about meditating. It's about speaking your truth. So it's all of them. It's the Trinity. It's you're letting go and life grows through you, right? Like a flower, like a garden. So by letting go and letting God, or letting go and letting source, you're always divinely guided, which is an accurate approach to life. From another perspective, we make life happen. We create life as we go. It's like a payment plan, those pay as you go. You're creating as you go. And then from another perspective, we are really just remembering what we already know. So going back to the toddler, it's like, are the teeth growing through him? Yes. Is he pushing to grow his teeth, which is why he's like, yes. And then is he just trying to get his teeth back? Yes. And that's what the nine are always showing me, is like every perspective is to be validated, because every perspective is truth to the person who's receiving that truth, to the recipient of that truth. Every thought is valid. So we have to lend validity to every single thought that's ever existed. We can't just say, I'm declining you, because all you're doing is declining an imprint within the Akashic record that was a valid experience for a select group of people or a bunch of people. So I thought, hi, Jessica. It's cool to see you on YouTube. My God, there are so many people on here. This is amazing. Thank you guys for your donations. I just want to share this real quick. So someone sent me a donation last week on my email, and they said, I apologize because I just sent you $5. Ha, synchronicity. Jackie Dunphy just sent $5. And this woman said to me, I'm really sorry that I was only able to send you $5. And you know what I said to her? I said, I just turned your 5 into 5 million, and that money's coming back to you. Because that's what we do. We're alchemists, you guys. It's never 5 cents, a dollar. We are a team. This is about taking that lead, turning it into gold, and then making that available for everyone. For everyone. You see, what we're doing is we're we're uploading these new recipes for everyone to be able to access. Everyone. And in saying, I'm sorry, I could only send you $5, there's no shame in that. That's just a limiting program that told you you were only sending $5. You see what I'm saying? So what we do together is we uplift each other. We're uplifting each other into that fifth dimensional framework, into that fifth dimensional consciousness, into that higher octave of consciousness. That's what we do for each other. That's how we roll. We're a team. We're a galactic family. And you know what? Family is going to drive each other nuts sometimes. And I may say something that really doesn't sit well with you. But my hope for us is that we don't have to discard each other just because we say one thing that may not resonate with you. I applaud you if you don't resonate with something I say, because that means you're solidifying your truth. And that's what we're all doing, is we're solidifying what's true for us. We're fortifying ourselves from within. So I don't want people to agree with me all the time. You know, I got this interesting visual last week, because I keep going back to this thing of like, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty irrelevant whether we agree with each other or disagree with each other. Back in the day, it probably meant a lot if you agreed or disagreed with someone. But where we stand now as a collective, because the light quotient has increased to such a degree where duality holds such little weight. You know what I'm saying? So agreeing or disagreeing, it doesn't really matter. And I used to say it's like throwing a ball and it doesn't really get far. Like if you disagree with me or if I disagree with you, who cares? What does that really do? Nothing. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to change the cosmic fabric of consciousness. So I asked the 9, do you guys have a good metaphor for this whole dualistic concept of agreeing or disagreeing? And they said yes. And they had me go on Google because I had to remember the name of this game. So you guys remember that game where we had a hammer and there was like a lever and you had to slam the lever and then the ball would shoot all the way up or it would light up. They call it High Striker. You guys remember that game, High Striker? They said that agreeing or disagreeing is like hitting it and it doesn't, it's like, ooh, it's like dead. It doesn't do anything. So it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about harnessing what's true for you. And I would never want to be someone who's impositional with my beliefs. I'm not here to stuff down my beliefs. That's not what it's about. I'm here to honor every single one's truth, every single person's truth, because your truth is something I have to agree to because it's true to other people. It may not be true to me or relevant for me. You know, I might be struggling with something that's huge. And to you, it may be like, really? That's a struggle for you? Yeah, it's a struggle for me. That's a struggle for me. It may not be a struggle for you. It might be like a sliver of nothingness for you. But to me, it's big. So I think we need to remind ourselves constantly that we're in this together. Like we are in this together. Whatever it is that you're clearing is a record that needs to be cleared collectively. And whatever it is that I'm clearing, it's probably the same record that's showing up in a different wrapping paper that needs to be cleared too. Does that resonate, you guys? Cool. And thank you for all the donations. I'm like chatty Cathy over here, but I'm very grateful. Thank you. I'm just not used to that. So, you know, I was speaking to a client today, and they were like, "Is anyone exempt from pain? Is anyone exempt from having to address their issues?" I said, think about it like this. Theoretically, right? And this was a download I received during the call. Theoretically, why would God or source not use every single body that's incarnate right now? Like, why wouldn't every single body, every single vehicle be used to clear imprints that are held within the Akash? So in that moment, it was like, no one is exempt from dealing with something. We all have to deal with something, because why would we dispose of any bodies that can be of service to humanity and to the ascension of the planetary body of Gaia. Everyone has to deal with something because we're all in this together. Why wouldn't God, it's like if you had an extra storage space in your house, why wouldn't you use it? Like it's useful space. And that's why I love to do readings, because I've been doing them for, I don't know, 6 years, and I never get tired of them because there's always new information coming in. Thank you, Paige. All right, let's get into some questions. Hi, Phil. How can I know if the spiritual group I've been with for years is healthy for me? Well, that's a good question. Barbarite. Barbarite? Barbarite. That's a good question. What I would say is it doesn't really matter who you interface with. What matters is that you tend to the judgments that you might still be harboring within your physical structure that are causing you to polarize. So when you say something like, are they healthy for me? It implies that there is such a thing as unhealthy for you. So you're still playing in duality, you see? If I connect with Lucifer, I'm going there. If I connect with Lucifer, all right, and then I receive really dark thoughts, well, those dark thoughts are going to be catalytic in me pinpointing what it is in terms of beliefs that I'm still holding on to that might be judgmental towards the darkness. So is Lucifer the enemy? Is the entity bad? Or could it be that the entity, whether it be an angel or whether it be a multidimensional being or whether it be an Arcturian or an Andromedan or a Pleiadian, could it be that their frequency is so elevated that it's pulling up and out of your body everything that doesn't belong there anymore? The fears, anything that's bringing about dissonance within your vibrational field. So what I would say is start to examine what comes up for you when you're interfacing with that particular energy or that entity. And then I'm not saying stick with them. You don't have to stick with anything. You don't have to reincarnate. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. All right? I just said it. You do not have to reincarnate. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Bottom line. So, if you don't like the way that they feel, then you would have to ask yourself, well, why have they been with me for so many years? Obviously, I'm learning something. So why not focus on the positive and start to address my negatives and then flatten that charge? I call it flattening the charge. Or like think of it as a wrinkle on a t-shirt and you're going to iron it out. You're smoothing things over. Okay? So with anything in life, I personally am not a huge fan of the color red. But red just is red. It just is. It's not doing anything to me. It's just being red. That guide is just a guide. What we have to look at is, am I going to judge red? Am I going to think that people who wear red are evil or aggressive? No. And then I have to go inside of myself and kind of pluck out. It's like having a plucker, right, for your eyebrows. You have to pluck out, wow, thank you for that $50 donation. Infinite blessings. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have to pluck out whatever limiting belief or perception or thought system that we're still running within our third dimensional operating system so that we can graduate ourselves into that fifth dimensional operating system. You want to anchor into that higher reality by starting to entrain to the frequencies of non-duality, by entraining to the frequency of unity. Unity doesn't mean we're going to hang out, all right? Unity means I can love you from afar, but right now, your harmonic signature and my harmonic signature are not blending. It's like oil and vinegar, and I'm going to honor that. And I don't need to understand the entire gamut of why we're not supposed to hang out. Maybe the council of beings you're working with are not get along, or not coming to an agreement with the council of beings I'm working with, and I don't need to understand it all. Maybe it's not time for us to hang out. But the thing is, unity is I honor the divine in you. And I honor you for reflecting back to me that we're not a match right now. I honor you for reflecting back to me that we're not a match and for allowing me to sharpen my discernment. So unity consciousness takes judgment out, which is why I said with that initial technique I used with when you have negative thoughts, I call them degrading thoughts. I call them intrusive thoughts. I kind of got out of calling them evil thoughts because that just perpetuates the cycle, you know? It feeds the narrative that you're not an empowered being, and you are an empowered being. You are so empowered that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's the truth. Which is why I said it's so cool when you can see these thoughts as jumping into your arms and being like, Phil, I feel safe enough to confide in you today. And I'm like, let's sit and talk. And that's it. And I think I've said this before. If you can start to view these demons as aspects of yourself that are starving for love, they're starving for love. They've been neglected so long. They've been shoved down into the basement so long with no one to love on them, with no one to shower them with that affection. That's when you will realize you have no enemies. The only enemy is you. The only enemy is you. And every aspect that is seemingly demonic is an aspect of yourself that's roaming in the lower worlds, in the underworlds, I call them the underworlds, that may need your love. They might be without food. They might have lost their color and now they're black, or now they're you get the metaphor. It's like they might have lost we call them dark entities, but they're us. And they're wanting us to pour love in them, to take that bucket of love and light and pour it into them and illuminate them and say, I'm here for you because you're divine. And then by doing that, you're going to augment your own divinity because we're all on this ascension process together. You don't think that there's something in it for the Pleiadians? Of course there is. The Pleiadians, how do you feel when your child learns from you? Wow, you feel fulfilled, you feel rewarded, right? The Pleiadians feel rewarded when they are able to transmit a light language or a geometrical code or sacred geometry or galactic codes, and then we're able to break it down. They're like, wow, they're rejoicing, right? So we're all in this together. Think of the Arcturians as a higher aspect of who you are. And as we grow, they grow. And they're not higher than us. I'm just using higher in this context. They're just a galactic aspect. And then you have the underworld aspect that we call demonic. We label them. This is fun, you guys. I'm enjoying it. So, let's see. The other thing I want to share, right, real quick, just to add to what I was just talking about. There were times where I was not being subordinate or compliant with my guidance system. My guides would ask me, Phil, don't do this today, or don't reach out to this person, or skip your exercise today. And I would be disobedient. So from one perspective, you could say that I was being disobedient to another aspect of myself that was trying to integrate me. Do you guys get that? I was being non-compliant with an aspect of myself, which is a parallel self that was trying to integrate me so that we can become more multidimensional together. And because I disobeyed, I became its parasite. And just like we have our own demons, they may be the reflection of when we are a demon to them. Did that land? Did that land? Okay, cool. So we have to be aware of this, that the demons that we deem demons, um, may just be aspects of ourselves that we've been shunning, and then they've been shunning us sometimes, and so forth and so forth. But the idea is to be all encompassing, to be all embracing, to be enveloping of all these aspects. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you. Runway is open. All right, let me see if there's a question real quick. Do you guys want me to leave this on YouTube? My Virgo's been a little entrenched in the YouTube. I'm like, but I need it to be perfect, but I don't really need it to be perfect. But do you guys want me to leave this on YouTube? All right. Hey Phil, why is it that the more, Erica, Risen Phoenix, why is it that the more upgraded I feel, the less connected I feel with the world around me? It almost doesn't feel real. Welcome to our life as starseeds. I was just talking to a friend about this today. The more that you ascend and you start to blend into your frequency, into your essence, higher dimensional aspects, galactic aspects, angelic aspects, these higher dimensional aspects, the less you have in common with people who are still rotating or orbiting around the same old aspects, right? If you can think of the times that you were in a group of people that were crowing about their lives or complaining about their lives or gossiping about people, they were all a match to each other. You were a match to them. They were a match to you because you were operating within a certain belief system that kept you anchored in a lower dimensional reality. All right. So you guys were all a match together. It was like a symphony of energies that complain. All right. Now it's like listening to really bad music, but you don't know that until you leave. All right. So then you graduated out of that and you had nothing left in common with those people. So if you kind of take that and multiply it by 30, when you're ascending into these higher octaves and you're connecting with ET intelligence or you're connecting with celestial intelligence, and that starts to lock in for you, because the idea is to uphold that frequency. We want to hold that higher frequency as long as we can. And the more that we hold it, the more we're integrating it and the more that we're able to sustain it. All right. Once you lock into that higher frequency, there aren't a lot of people who are in training to those higher waves of consciousness. So obviously there's going to be a huge gap between you and people, a huge discrepancy. So the way I feel in my life is I'm like a time traveler because I don't feel very human. I'm constantly working with ETs. So I've adapted myself to that higher intelligence. So when I walk around in a plasmic state, and for those of you who don't know, plasmic, it's when your pineal gland starts to activate and stimulate, and everything feels like a lucid dream. Everything feels like jello. Everything's like jello around you. And I'm sure some of you have felt that, but you're in bliss. You're feeling ecstatic. You're feeling high because your pineal gland is secreting the DMT. Your pineal gland releases DMT and you're feeling high. But what happens is you can be sitting next to someone and they feel like they're on a different planet, literally, because they're on a different version of reality. Planet Earth is multidimensional, just like you're multidimensional. So there's many versions of Earth at this time, many versions of Earth. So you might be walking around, someone's walking around right next to you, and you can't even feel them because you're so far removed from the dimension that they're inhabiting, from the frequency that they're indwelling. Does that make sense? So it will feel like you're moving in this lucid dream. Now, why is it that you would have to go through that phase or through that process? Well, are you still judging yourself for being different than the rest? Are you still judging yourself for being a starseed? Or can you start to really accept and embrace your gift? The gift that you have to offer to humanity, which is that when you walk occupying this higher dimensional space, you are being of the utmost service to humanity because that energy is contagious. You are emitting a signal that is truly rippling into this realm, into all realms. Because the higher the frequency, this is another download I got this week. The higher the frequency, the more loving it is, right? So it's naturally going to override all the other systems because integrity will always preside over all else. Integrity is always going to provide over everything else, always. So the higher frequency you're at, the more love you have, but love doesn't mean, why aren't you there for me? Love means, I understand you can't be there for me. You've got things to do. And I appreciate you for being truthful. And I've got you. I love you. That's love. Love is being honorable towards others and their truth. Love doesn't cross a line. Love doesn't try to impose itself. Love understands that we're all here to connect to the truth of who we are and that we can't always be here for each other. So the higher the frequency, the more it's going to override the old systems. So it's going to override all the dark systems, all the inverted matrices, all of the grid systems that were tampered with, that kept us from connecting to those galactic aspects. So it's just about embracing that you're not the same, that you're different, but everyone is the same. It's just that they're still not awakened to that yet. So you're straddling two worlds, but do you have to straddle them? Or can you fully accept that you've moved into this higher density of consciousness? Without proof, this is speculation. Everything is speculation, my friend. So I agree with you. But it's not about getting to a result. It's about stretching your mind by questioning reality at large. This was never about getting to a result. This is about you thinking outside the box. This is about you shifting into different paradigms of thought. It's not about proof. The fact that I'm alive is proof enough. That's proof enough. This is a gift. We are miraculous beings. We are incarnate at this time. I don't need more proof than that. So, but you're right. Everything is speculation, and I'm in agreement with you. See, just like that, there doesn't have to be a conflict. But what people do is they go, I disagree. No one cares if you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. High striker, and it doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. And yes, from one perspective, there is no box, Martha. I will agree with you. And what the 9 are saying is that there are no boxes, but there are paradigms. And you can equate that to a box. So if I start smoking tonight, I'll connect to the thoughts that are roaming around the paradigm of smokers. And I can learn a lot from that. I'm not saying I'm going to smoke. I have nothing against smoking. I'm saying that whenever you start something like yoga, whenever you start something like veganism, whenever you start things like lifting weights, you kind of become you embark upon a paradigm. And that paradigm has within it all these different thought forms. And all these thoughts that you receive are usually part of that paradigm. So there are no boxes, but there are boxes. It's both. The key is to observe the thoughts without being enslaved to them, without becoming governed by them. That's when you're a master. That's when someone can smoke and you're judging them and they know you're judging them and they're just reflecting that energy back to you. It's yours. It's not theirs. To me, that's someone who is sovereign, someone who's not asking your permission to smoke or to drink. They are deciding as a sovereign being that they enjoy it. Enjoy it. Like, you have a right to do what you want. But the key is to not judge yourself, because judgment is what invites cancer in. Judgment is what separates us. Judgment is the virus. I got this message from the Nine yesterday that I thought was really brilliant. They were like, from one perspective, the angels are angels, and you guys are in a reality. It's a sphere. It's an actual reality, and there is angelic assistance, kind of giving you guidelines or a roadmap, if you will, to reconnect to all that you are. And then they were like, it would be equally true if you said that you're in a game and that these angels are the ones who made the game, and the makers of the game are warning you when someone's about to kill you in the game, or warning you when you're in danger. And so the makers of the game are sending you from their end of the spectrum all the guidelines you need to not get caught in that trap in the game. And I thought that was pretty cool. So it's not about proof. It's not about any of this of evidence. It's about playing with all of it and understanding that it's all the same thing. There's a common thread. There's a common thread with all of it. And you get to decide what you want to pretend in this life. Are you in a virtual reality game? Are you in a reality and there are angels guiding you? Are you source? Are you God? Or are you all of it? Or are you none of it? Like, really, the choice is yours. I just want to make sure Rex isn't outside, because that would be very selfish of me right now, because he's going to be here in any second. Okay, I think I'm going to go we'll go 5 more minutes, you guys, and then we'll close up. All right, I really enjoyed connecting with you guys tonight. This is a lot of people. Whoa. Rex is going to be here in a couple minutes. Angelic Arcturian messages. Thank you, Angela Simmons. Angela Simmons. So, okay, how to self-heal and get rid of jealousy? Your asking was strong, because I saw you earlier, by the way. So good job. So here's what I'll say. Whenever you look at someone's social media and you start to feel envious or jealous, or like you're less than or you're inadequate, it's really essential that you trace it back to you, because that jealousy charge was there before you met this person. It was there way before. It's historical. It's historical. So what you want to do in that moment is recognize that a record within your Akashic field or within your Akashic register, you can almost think of it as like a book is falling from the library shelf in that moment. And that book is the trigger. You're feeling jealous. You're being triggered into jealousy. In that moment, it's important to stop energizing, the narrative that you're not enough, that there isn't enough for everyone. So you want to reframe your belief and be like, why am I jealous? Oh, because maybe I think I'm less than, or maybe I think they have more than me. And be like, well, maybe they do right now, but there's more than enough for all of us. So I'm actually happy for that person. So you can start by talking out loud. The other thing is, it might be helpful. This is not a requisite, but it might be helpful if you don't keep looking at their social media. Because every time you do, that might make you flare up from inside. It might make you flare up. What the Nine are saying is, feel free to keep looking at their social media, but while you're doing it, give love to yourself and tell those energies or those thoughts that are telling you you're not enough, or that you haven't made it yet. Tell them all is well. I love you. I love you. All is well. We don't have to do that. You know, it's kind of like when your children are acting out because you're not giving them that lollipop. You're like, nope, you can't have the lollipop. And they're like, give me my lollipop now. It's like, we're not going to do that. I love you. And you kind of calm them down and you let them know, I love you. All is well. And if you keep doing this over and over and over again, you're going to start to repattern your mind. And this is going to allow for light to pour into you, for new energies to usher in, and they're going to assist you in reconfiguring your DNA. So there's a few ways to go. You can either stop feeding the narrative that you're not enough by continuing to go on their social media page. And every time you feel the urge to go, you say, we don't have to do that today. So in that moment, you would be the parent to yourself. You're parenting yourself. You're like, we don't have to do that. You are more than enough. You can go look in a mirror and say, I love you. You're more than enough. Or you can look at their social media, and as these energies start to float to the surface, you're parenting the energies, right? So in the first example, you're parenting yourself and you're saying, we're not going to go look on the social media, and you're going to reinforce that you love yourself. It's positive reinforcement. And then in the second example, you're going to go to the social media, and as those thoughts are bubbling up, you're going to give yourself love. You're going to give them love like a parent. You're like, all is well. All is well. You know, I always tell people your meditations are going to be all scrambled. You're going to have tons of thoughts all the time. But what makes a master is if they're able to be the eye in the storm. You have to find that place of quietude and calmness amidst all of these bombardments. I still get thousands of thoughts in meditation, but I'm in the eye of the storm. I become the eye of the storm. So all you have to do is just sit there. Don't judge yourself. If you do, don't judge the you that's judging you. Okay? So just keep observing it and acknowledging it. But you don't have to be it. You could just be there, acknowledge it. Let them do their dance, right? Let them do their dance. Let these thoughts get crazy. You're just going through a cellular release. The cells in your body hold codes. Those codes are being recoded. So you have to go through that emotional release. And then when the cells release those codes, new codes are going to be input. You just have to be there for it. You don't have to do anything. Just be there. And tell yourself, I'm not going to energize that narrative by taking action and by gossiping about this person or bad-mouthing this person. I'm going to be kind to myself. So I hope that helps. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your donations. I'm so wowed by the fact that there are 833 people on here right now. I love you guys. Thank you. And to everyone who never saw me live before because you weren't on Instagram, I appreciate you for being here tonight. Yeah. Thank you guys. I'll say hi to Rex. I love you. Bye.